The lights of Los Angeles never dimmed. Not for sunrise, not for heartbreak. Marla Reyes stood on the balcony of her penthouse suite, 30 stories above the city she once conquered. Billboards with her face still glowed across Sunset Boulevard. The tabloids still screamed her name, and the fans still lined up outside recording studios hoping for a glimpse. She had everything she ever dreamed of: fame, fortune, a name etched in music history. And yet, she fell hollow. Her phone buzzed again, lighting up with yet another headline. Rocker queen Marla Reyes spotted with producer Cole Hayes. What about husband Jaxon? Marla didn't flinch. She had long stopped caring what they wrote. The truth was uglier than gossip could ever be. 10 years ago, she was just a waitress with a voice no one wanted to hear. Then came Jaxon Rivera, a quiet, ambitious guitarist who believed in her before anyone else did. They wrote songs together in his cramped garage, played dive bars for tips, and dreamed of someday getting out of the valley. Jaxon loved her before the world knew her name. He loved her when she had crooked teeth and second-hand jeans, when her dreams were still scribbled in journals and voice notes. He didn't mind the struggle, because he believed in what they were building, both in music and in love. Then the fame came, and with it, the changes. Marla's voice took the world by storm. Her debut album, Ashes and Honey, went platinum in 3 weeks. Suddenly, her calendar was full of interviews, flights, and photo shoots. Her name was synonymous with power, sex appeal, and attitude. And Jaxon? He became a shadow trailing behind her spotlight. It started with late-night arguments. Then came the missed calls, the red carpet she walked alone, and a distance that couldn't be measured in miles. She told herself she was chasing something for both of them, but slowly she left him behind. Cole Hayes entered the picture during her 3rd album, a mega producer with a silver tongue and a dangerous smile. He understood what sold. He shaped her into a global icon, trimming away the last pieces of the old Marla, the faithful wife, the honest songwriter, the girl who used to cry in Jackson's arms when she was scared. She never intended to betray Jaxon, but fame is a hunger that never quiets. One affair turned into 2. Then came the lies. Then the silence. The night Jaxon left, he didn't yell. He didn't even cry. He simply packed his guitar, left a note on her piano, and walked out of the penthouse they once called home. The note read, "I loved you before they did. That's the difference." Now, years later, Marla had everything. Her latest album shattered streaming records. She was nominated for Artist of the Year again. She had Cole's arm around her waist and diamonds on every finger. But when she returned home at night, the silence screamed louder than the applause ever did. On stage, she sang songs about love, loyalty, and loss, and the irony was never lost on her. The fans called her raw, real, authentic. If only they knew. She poured herself another glass of champagne, watching the city blink below. Somewhere out there, Jaxon was probably playing at a bar, still writing honest music. He had disappeared from the public eye. But in her quietest moments, his ghost lingered in every chord she strummed. Famous? Yes. Faithless? Undeniably. And she would carry that truth like a lyric she could never quite erase. Fame gave her the world, but it cost her the only heart that ever beat for her. Weeks passed. Marla stood under blazing lights of the Global Music Awards, draped in gold and diamonds, accepting her 4th consecutive Artist of the Year trophy. The crowd roared. Her name echoed in the air like a war chant. Cameras flashed. Cole kissed her cheek. She smiled. She waved. She posed. But her eyes searched the crowd for something that wasn't there. After the ceremony, she escaped to the rooftop bar, where industry elites toasted with 100-year-old whiskey and whispered secrets behind designer sunglasses. Cole was too busy with his entourage to notice she'd slipped away. The sky was clear, the city endless. A man was playing guitar by the terrace fireplace, just for ambience. His fingers moved across the strings like silk. A raw, aching melody floated through the air. Something about the way he played struck her. Honest, unpolished, familiar. She turned. It wasn't Jaxon, of course, but it reminded her of him. Back home, she opened a dusty box buried deep in the back of her walk-in closet. the one place the cameras couldn't reach. Inside were fragments of the girl she used to be, a notebook filled with lyrics in her teenage handwriting, Polaroids of her and Jaxon on tour in a beat-up van, a worn-out guitar pick with his initials carved into back, a faded wedding band. She pressed the pick to her lips. A memory hit her, standing barefoot in Jaxon's garage, sweaty and laughing, when they first recorded Cold Coffee Kisses. It was the first song they wrote together. She had written the chorus. He had written the bridge. Marla sat down at her Steinway grand piano, now more set dressing than an instrument, and began to play that old song. Slowly, softly, the notes trembled beneath her fingers. And for the first time in years, she cried. The next morning, she made a decision that shocked the industry. Marla canceled her world tour, walked away from Cole, deleted every social media account. Her label called it career suicide. Her fans called it a meltdown. But Marla called it waking up. She rented a car and drove, no entourage, no press, just her and the open road. She found Jaxon in a small mountain town, playing acoustic sets at a local cafe, his hair longer, his face a little older, his spirit just the same. She didn't announce herself. She didn't make a scene. She waited until the set was over, then walked up to him with nothing but truth in her eyes. "I don't expect forgiveness," she said, "but I wrote a new song, and it's about you. All of it was always about you." Jaxon looked at her for a long moment, the weight of a decade settling between them. "I never stopped writing songs about you," he finally said. "I just stopped waiting for you to hear them." Tears welled in her eyes. "Can I listen now?" He nodded. She sat in the back of the cafe as he began to play, a melody raw and familiar. The lyrics cut through her like glass, every word a mirror. She wasn't the Marla Reyes the world worshipped anymore. She was just a woman, famous and faithless, trying to find her way back to what was real. The world forgot them. But in that quiet cafe, two souls remembered. And sometimes that's more than fame ever offers. She had conquered the world, but all she ever wanted was a man who saw her before it. Jaxon finished the song with his eyes closed. The cafe was quiet now, a reverent silence hanging in the air. A few people clapped softly, unaware of the weight behind the performance. Marla's hands trembled in her lap, her throat thick with emotion. She had sat in front of thousands, heard stadiums scream her name, but no applause had ever sounded as pure as the quiet that followed Jackson's last note. He looked up, his eyes meeting hers. "I never stopped loving you," she whispered, standing to face him. "But I lost myself chasing something I thought we both wanted. I thought if I became someone important, I'd be enough for both of us." "You were always enough," he said gently. "You just didn't believe it." Silence again. This time not empty, but full of all the things left unsaid for years. "I can't undo the past," she said, voice breaking. "But I can walk away from everything else, if it means I can sit beside you again." Jaxon gave a small, sad smile. "You don't need to walk away from a world. Just stop letting it drown you." A pause. A flicker of something between them. Maybe forgiveness. Maybe hope. "I still write songs," she said, "but they don't sound like anything without you." He stepped closer, close enough to smell the lavender perfume she still wore, the one he'd picked for her in some forgotten gas station long ago. "Then let's write one more," he said. That night in the back room of the cafe, they wrote again, two old guitars, one half-finished melody, and a lot of silence between chords. But it was a beginning, not a fairy tale, not a grand return to fame. Just two people rebuilding something real. Years later, no one talked much about Marla Reyes. She had disappeared from the charts, let her fame fade like fog in the morning sun. But somewhere in the mountains, if you walked past a quiet little cafe on a Sunday afternoon, you might hear a woman with a haunting voice singing beside a man with silver in his beard. They never asked for an audience. They sang for each other. And for the first time, that was enough.